Hello and welcome to Jumanji. No, I'm just kidding. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I left work early today to take my wife car shopping, unsuccessfully. And I have work I still need to get done. So it's a late night for me. I have a PlayStation 4 here. And this was brought to us for not feeding disc. And if it can't feed the disc, it's not going to read the disc. So I'm going to plug some power into this PS4. Now, a quick way to determine some different things is with the system off, I'm going to try to feed a disc in. That normally turns the system on. So I'm going to push the disc in. That's weird. It's not doing anything, but the disk drive's not totally locked up. Now there could be a few causes for this. Could be blown fuse, could be a bad feed motor sensor, or it could be a bad Renesas chip. That one is not repairable. I don't even know if I say the word right. Anyway, I'm going to open this up and check the fuses on the board, because that would be the simplest solution, and we do see it a lot. If the fuses check out okay, then we'll pop a different drive in and see if that solves the problem. And if it doesn't, then it's going to be deemed a no fix. Let's get started. Okay, so upon disassembly, it became apparent that this was a failed DIY or do-it-yourself attempt. And you know, the drive wasn't even plugged in all the way, so then I plugged it in and then it still didn't work. And then I was looking at the back here and they had some, you know, one of these plastic pieces was like outside of the metal housing when it should be inside, and it's not operating smoothly. It gets caught up, and I just don't exactly know what they were doing in here. Maybe it wasn't working and they were trying to fix it. But at this point, if I'm going on the assumption that it wasn't working and that's why they had it open and they were tinkering with it, then I might as well just replace the whole drive. Because trying to fix this back plate of the optical drive and going through all that just to find out that it doesn't work and that it needs more parts, I just drop it in a new drive. So I want to grab a replacement and see if that solves the problem. Okay, I verified that a replacement drive fed the disc, but it's not going to work until we swap over the daughter board. So if you're ever replacing your optical drive, do not throw away your original. It has a very important circuit board on there that you have to keep. It has a chip on it that is forever and ever married to the motherboard of the console. So hopefully if you're going to replace your own optical drive, you landed on this video and you hear me emphasize, do not throw away your original until you have a working console. Okay, let's switch cameras here. Hang on. Alright, check it out. This is, you get easily confused. So I mark old, that's an O, and I got a new one, that's an N. Okay, and then I put a little check mark, if you can see that on the circuit board, that's like check, that's the board I'm keeping. Okay, and I could put an X on the other one, but what's the point? Anyway, let's start by taking this metal piece off here. And we're going to take the board off the original, and then I can set the original drive aside, knowing that my next step is just to swap out the board. Okay, it looks like there's 3 screws here, and obnoxiously someone put the wrong size screw in here. And you know, this is something here where I don't even, like, at this point I don't know if the customer already sought out a replacement drive and threw away the original, thereby bricking the console forever. And that's always a concern when we're resolving a do-it-yourself attempt and regarding the optical drive, because like I don't know what they've done. So all I know is that this is what they brought me. So if this circuit board doesn't match the system, then their system's never going to work again unless they happen to have the original still. All right, so this is my original board. I'm setting the other parts aside. I'm not throwing stuff away until I have a working console. I've seen this too many times. People throw away the old junk. Okay, let's get a little bit picture here. Okay, so we got 3 screws here. See, the thing that concerned me is on the original drive, that first screw I just did there wasn't the one that's intended to go there, which makes me feel like they've already been in here and done this. And you know, I really hope that's not the case. Okay, so this isn't connected, but that's okay because the parts vendor basically knows that I'm not going to use this board unless I needed parts off of it. But I'm just going to make sure that the replacement board goes in. Alright, this is the board that came with the replacement drive. I'll never install this in a console. It's just around for parts. Like maybe there's a broken flip connector. Well, here's my donor. Maybe there's a broken connector here that connects the drive to the console. Well, here's a donor. And so on and so forth. So we don't throw these away. It's just never going to get installed. Okay, so the original goes back in. Let's line that up and put a screw in. And I'm gonna make sure all 3 of the ribbons get plugged in. 2 of them are push connects and 1 has a flappy doodle thing. Okay, make sure that seats all the way. And this last one, I'm just gonna lift that board up. Alright, perfect. And now I put the metal cover back on. Line it up properly and put the screws in. And that's all there is to that, as long as this is the original board to that system. So I'm going to go put this in the system. Nothing to see there. Probably their system was overheating rather rapidly, so I'm going to pull the board and replace the thermal paste and all that as a courtesy for the customer. Then I'm going to put this all back together and we'll be back for the moment of truth. Okay, here's a pro tip for all you do-it-yourself minded folk out there. With electronics, you don't need to try and like torque the screws tight. Like, you're just putting it together. I can't even tell you how frequently when I'm resolving a failed do-it-yourself attempt that like all the screw posts are stripped. What are you using, a 20-volt drill? I mean, rule of thumb, hand tighten it, okay? And when it stops, it stops. Look at the screw. Does it look like it's flush? If it's not, push it in a little bit more. If it is, it's in. You don't got to keep going. Anyway, power. Let's see if we get error screen or not. Sometimes you do when these have been disassembled and whatnot. Okay, let's plug a controller in and connect a storage device. Okay, let's not do that. And then it should reset. Hard drive's in there. Come on. Oh, it turned off. Okay, let's turn it on again. Maybe we get the boot sequence going. I don't know why this is. Sometimes. Wow. I mean, I don't like this. I just want it to boot normally. I don't want the customer to lose all their data. Why is this the case? I pressed back that time. Is it going to turn off or is it going to reboot? It turned off. Alright, I got to troubleshoot a couple things here. Look, here it goes. See, I don't even know why it does this sometimes. But what I did to get past that screen is I just clicked the buttons to proceed like I was going to install the firmware again, but I didn't actually put the flash drive in. And then it searched and said, oh, we couldn't find the firmware. And I said, okay. And then it rebooted and bada bing, there we are. Anyway, let's put a disc in. I have discs here that I know work. So we're gonna feed one in. And it feeds, and that was the initial problem. I see that it's reading in the top corner there. And is it gonna read the game? It does read the game. Yes, that's another successful repair. That means that we did have the original daughter board, and here it goes. It'll take some time to install. I want to make sure that it installs fully and run the game to make sure that it's working properly before we bill out the customer. But any issues aside with the drive I put in, we solved the problem. So, you know, I was gonna check the Blu-ray fuses and that sort of thing, but you know, when you open it up and you find out that that's not going to be the problem because of other apparent issues, then there you go. So, and then as a courtesy on this one, we replaced the thermal paste and all the thermal pads and blew out the heatsink grill of any dust so that they're not going to have overheating problems. I'm not going to detail clean this because they're not paying us for a cleaning service. They're paying us to fix the drive, but you know, we'll wipe it down, make it presentable, that sort of thing. Hey, I hope that you got something informative out of the video. Even though I didn't go through all the troubleshooting steps, at least I kind of mentioned what they were. So if your issue isn't going to be resolved with a replacement drive, that gives you kind of an idea of where to head with it. But this guy is done. I'm going to get it cleaned up and finish testing it and bill out the customer. I appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, you know, the thumbs up or whatever. Hey, those things motivate me to keep making videos. So if you got something out of it, maybe I can give you something else in the future. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night.